So, welcome to the first episode of the exclusively male life and relationships podcast. And life happened. Like life has already happened here. The first episode just could not quite get off without a hitch. I was all excited to use my new action camera, which I've had for a while. Use the new action camera and bought the stand for it to use it as the webcam here for the first episode. And as you can tell, I am not using it for whatever reason. I ran a test earlier and everything was fine. And of course, when I get ready to go live, the my StreamYard software wouldn't allow me to use my Yeti mic with the Osmo. So I'm sure there's a way I'm going to have to figure that out. But of course, as is the tradition with any of the YouTube channels that I run, tech issues, and I'm late. So, welcome. So, I wanted to go live here tonight because this is the first week of the new series that I started, 90 Days to Becoming a Better Man. And today was day 6. I didn't put out a separate video, so we'll just count this as day 6. And the idea behind the series came to me basically over the course of the last year. So what I'm going to do at the beginning of this show is I'm just going to kind of introduce the channel, let you guys know what and girls, let you guys know what the idea behind the channel is, what the idea behind this series is, and just sort of give an introduction into myself and my experience and why I feel like I have some value to add with this channel. So in the last year, I'm not going to get into all of the extreme details. Any of you that are watching this video that are fans of the hockey channel, which this is the background for, know the whole story. But in the last year, had a go of it. Both of my last 2 dogs passed away. And then I lost my long-term relationship. And have since found a brand new one, which we'll get into, I'm sure, on this channel. And I used a process, amongst other things, to just kind of get my head right again, to get myself right again. When you have that much truncated, and it was in the space of 4 months that all of that happened. And, you know, your head can end up spinning and you don't know exactly which way is up and which way is down. And you know, when my last dog died, that was the end of 27 straight years of having dogs at all times. And so you wake up every day and you got something to take care of, right? So when he passed, when Fluffy passed, that's Fluffy. When he passed, 27 straight years of getting up. All right, let's go. You know, feed the dogs, take them to the river, do whatever I'm doing with them. And then one day it's just gone. It's just your whole adult life's routine. I was 53 when it happened. So since the age of 26, your whole adult's life routine is just gone. And a couple weeks later, girlfriend of 6 years moved out. And so you start to look at your life and you start to say, okay, well, I mean, I have been given and gifted in some ways a completely brand new, fresh start. And I wanted to make sure that wherever I was going, whatever I was going to be doing, wanted to make sure that I went in the direction that I wanted to, and then I purposefully, specifically, and explicitly manifested exactly what I wanted. And so in these 90 days, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not here to preach morality to anybody. I'm not here to tell you what to do. My role is to give you tips and strategies into how to accomplish what you want to accomplish. That's the way I look at things. This is not a red pill channel. I know that the name of the channel is exclusively male, and it's mainly because I'm speaking from a male perspective. But that doesn't mean my girlfriend won't be on from time to time on the live stream where we'll have some inappropriate conversations. But that's an entirely different story. So over the course of the 90 days, I'm going to kind of give you the step-by-steps to what I did over the course of the year. And I'm still learning. I'm still completely learning as you go. And to kind of start at the end, I'll start at the to start at the end, I'll start at the beginning. Something I just figured out today. And now this has to do with relationships. Now the entire channel is relationships, but not just your relationship with your significant other, right? It can be your relationship with your kids, with your parents, your coworkers, your friends. Everything boils down to the relationships that we have with other people or within ourselves. And I know that there is a mindset out there, especially in the male space on YouTube. There's a mindset out there of there's no quality women left out there, right? Now, that may apply only if you're looking for a strictly traditional or conservative type of relationship. You may find that there's women available if that's not what you're looking for. But the overwhelming attitude you see on YouTube is men are fighting back by just bitching and complaining about women the same way that women were bitching and complaining about men, which is why men feel like they have to fight back. It's not really working out in anybody's favor, because when you get to the nuts and bolts of it all, we're all flawed. Nobody here is perfect. And one of the things that I can tell you, I've had somebody ask me recently, so how do you know? How do you know when you find the right person? Forget gender, forget male, female. How do you know when you find the right person? And now there's all of the physical stuff, right? You feel a certain way, and you got the butterflies and all of that stuff, and that's all fine, well, and good. There's nothing wrong with that, but that don't tell you they're the right person. We've all had those relationships where they start off that way, and then over time that chips away, and what you're left with is the actual core of the person. And so what I'm about to say would apply with your male, female, whether you're talking about a romantic relationship, talking about a friendship, talking about an employer. It would pretty much apply to any relationship. And that is that you found a good one when they won't let you compromise your dreams away, even if it would benefit them. I'll say that again. You found a good one when they won't let you compromise your dreams away, even though that compromise would benefit them. That's when you found somebody that is on your team, is on your side, is actually there to help you better yourself. And so in terms of the 90 days to becoming a better man, you can't play both sides. You're not going to have success in becoming a better person if the people that you're integrating with on a daily basis don't have your back in that way. It's just not going to happen. Because if you're with somebody or surrounded by somebody who's going to allow you to take shortcuts to what you want because it would be easier for them, you're not getting where you need to go. You're not going where you want to go. And that's not somebody who's willing to allow you to challenge yourself, which you're going to need to do. And that's not somebody who's willing to challenge themselves to grow within the relationship, especially as things progress, because we all know that we change over time. And so I'll be 54 in 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. I ain't getting any younger today, but that was something that came into my purview today and made me realize the difference in between, where you might be, where you are now, and where you want to go. Sometimes it's not just yourself that's standing in your own way. So, as I stated at the beginning of the video, I'll just let everybody know what experience I have other than just being on camera yelling and screaming about hockey. So I've been a coach now for geez, I guess close to 20 years. I guess close to 20 years. I haven't always worked, you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is I'm not always taking new clients. I've got people that I help here or there now. I don't really do it as much anymore as I used to do. But back in the 10s and the 15s and into, before COVID, I was a massage therapist. I worked with couples. I had clients that way. And what I always say, or at least I used to say it, is that I've seen too much. I've seen too much. There's a series on this channel which I kind of had to stop. And that series is called Confessions of a Male Massage Therapist. Now, the title of that series will give you an idea to what I mean when I say I've seen too much. Okay? You would be surprised. Well, maybe, and some of you wouldn't be surprised, but some of you would be surprised to find out that your next door neighbor could be engaging in activities that their wife or husband might be pretty much shocked in. There's a lot of secretiveness that's going on in this world, especially with the advent of the internet. And it's just made human nature that much more easy for people to explore, which leads me back to the point where I said in the male space, you're going to find a lot of attitude about how there's no good women left, and the women say there's no good men left. And honestly, I think a lot of it is because people are so busy pointing the finger at everybody else, and nobody wants to work on themselves. Nobody wants to work on themselves. And we all find our reasons to not do that. When I had dogs and the kids over the years, I just kind of stayed pat into who I was because I was a stay-at-home dad. I was self-employed. I had the kids all the time. Then we had the dogs. Always had an excuse as to why I would not really have any time to sort of analyze my own behavior and see how many of the consequences of my actions were actually consequences of my actions or consequences of my reactions to somebody else's actions. And that's another thing as men that we need to learn how to handle is, you know what? There are certain traits that the overwhelming majority of women have. Just like men. There are certain traits that the overwhelming majority of women have. The difference in your relationships, especially romantic, is going to come down to how you react to those behaviors. Because if you spend your life and you spend your relationships and you spend your existence attempting to get certain behaviors out of women that are not likely to occur, you're just going to be miserable. So you can choose to be alone, or you can choose to attempt to modify your reactions to their actions in such a way as to not completely excuse them for their actions, but to make sure that you don't exacerbate the situation. And what I have found by doing that is you would be surprised. My previous relationship actually told me this. She said, this is early on, this was a red flag that I probably should have paid attention to. She said to me, her ex-husband, she was talking about her ex-husband, and she said that she used to yell and scream at him just to get a reaction out of him because she was so bothered by his stoicness and his unwillingness to be bothered by her antics that she would just react worse and worse and worse until he would finally crack. And interestingly enough, that was the dynamic that ended up presenting in our relationship as well. And the calmer I was, the more the madder she would become until I would finally crack and react. And then at that point, she would say, well, she would use that reaction against me and say, well, this is why I can't tell you anything. And so what I learned post relationship is that you're only going to meet, and the same thing goes for women, but we're talking about men here. You're only going to meet so many different kinds of women, just like women are only going to meet so many different kinds of men. And again, you can choose to be alone, or you can choose to understand the reasons behind and the motivations behind a woman's behavior and try to adjust your reactions to where you're not exacerbating the situation and making it worse. Now, it's not a guarantee to work, And certainly, if you want to just have an excuse to remove the relationship from your purview, you can do that by just continuing to react the way that you are. But if it's a relationship that you value, and especially as you get older, if you see that the woman might be acting a certain way because of previous situations, what do they say? Be the bigger man, right? They say maybe be the bigger man, and you'd be the one to make the adjustments. And if a woman sees that her misbehavior, her bad behavior, so to speak, is not going to get you riled up, and instead you're just going to present calm, rational solutions, one of two things is going to happen. She's either going to leave because she just wants the drama, and in that case, you're better off anyway. Or she'll eventually modify her behavior to realize that if there's something that she feels she needs to discuss, that she doesn't have to fly off the handle to get it done. So I see we got a couple of comments here. I'll say hi to everybody. We are doing this as a live stream, and appreciate everybody being here so far. At the beginning of these, I'll probably talk for 10, 15 minutes, let everybody get in. Like I said, I was late, and I'll have to figure out I had, for those of you who weren't here in the beginning, I had my nice action camera all set up to be used to look great. But for whatever reason, my StreamYard would not let me use that camera with this mic, even though I use that webcam with this mic. And so I have to figure out why that was the case. So for now, we're still using this cheap webcam. So, hey, 58, how we doing? Guitar Crow, happy 4th of July. David, how we doing, bud? So we had a question here. SoFlo says, what's the first step to unlocking true confidence and not just don't give a F what others think about you, because that's the obvious answer. I mean, curbing a borderline crippling self-esteem disorder because you have that really bad. Yeah. So what's the first step? First step is not easy. It never is. And the first step is being by yourself and trying to figure out, if you don't know, what was the original cause for the self-esteem issue. And when you start thinking about it, you're going to think something and you go, that's not it. And then you're going to go to a few other things. And it's most likely that first thing that you don't want to talk to yourself about. I'm not a big believer in therapy, talk therapy, certainly not a believer in opening up to your significant other unless you have a strong history of trust there. Maybe a male best friend that has got your back. If you have any kind of issues in relationship with your parents, don't say anything or don't ask that question is what I should say. The the start is asking yourself, how did it get this way? Was it, and I'm just throwing stones here, but was it a rejection by a girl, or did it happen because you weren't able to approach a girl because you were already afraid of it? Was it something with your parents? The biggest way to start is to find out where it started. And that's the hardest thing to do, to be honest with yourself. So Flo, I'll tell you right off the bat. I ain't perfect. You know what I mean? I ain't perfect. And my first memory, I'm 3 years old, and my dad is picking me up at the back of the daycare, and it's just a little trailer. And he grabs me by the hand, and we're walking outside, walking down the stairs. I'm 3. And he says to me, "Come on, Eric, we're going home. Your mother left again. She's been out running around with her boyfriends." That's my first memory. And to say that did damage to me that I did not want to come to terms with till much later in life would be an understatement, be a massive understatement. David says, sometimes you got to rise above. Can't tell others what to do. A must. Oh, David, I see. Yeah. Mythical says, I honestly think technology has made things harder in general, not just with relationships, but with people's lives. We lose a lot of dopamines and how much time we spend on our phone. No doubt. Mythical, there's a video on his channel titled "Your Husband is Not Your Facebook Friend," and that was something from my previous relationship, and that you just you extrapolate it times however many people. And this wasn't exclusive to me, but one of the issues that would happen she would constantly be on Facebook and posting things and getting reactions from other people who were just her friends, and she would compare their reactions to my reactions, because mine might have been a little bit more critical or a little bit more suggestive, because the things that she was talking about doing would have had an effect on my life, right? Because you're living with somebody. Whereas when she's telling her friends are just like, oh, that's great, go ahead, do it. And she was comparing their reactions to mine. And I talked to a few other people, and the same thing was happening with them, where same thing happens with women that are posting the pictures, right? And, you get the thirsty guys online that are giving her the compliments. And then as the husband or the boyfriend, if you're not giving her the same attention, you see where this goes. So Katarko asks, what's my thoughts on meditation? So I don't have any hard, fast rules on that. For me, my meditation time is out walking in the yard. So I've got the 3 acres. I've got an acre fenced in. And inside the fence, I've beaten down by walking a figure 8 path. And it goes around a couple of trees. Then it goes around the tree with the dog's grave. And it's interesting that you bring that up, because that's what I did. From the time that Fluffy passed, and then my ex left a couple weeks later, that was the end of July. So I spent August, September, October, and November, quite literally for the most part, unless we had a hockey game, and even sometimes after the hockey game, I would be outside walking that figure 8, 10, 15 miles a night. I'd be out there walking 4 or 5, sometimes 6 hours. And I would just get into a meditative trance, for lack of a better phrase. So, yeah, I absolutely believe in meditation, but I'm not somebody that's going to tell you to sit there and be quiet and still your mind to do that. I think it's different for everybody. I could never do it. I could never do it, the be quiet and still your mind part. Could never do that. David says, honest self-reflection is a really, really hard thing to do, but is key to any real self-improvement. That's it, man. Yeah. If you're lucky enough to have somebody to share it with, but be careful. Be careful. I mean, the book that I wrote, the book I wrote 2 summers ago. And, you guys know I was with someone else at that time, and I didn't tell her I was writing a book. It was a surprise. It wasn't necessarily a surprise for her, but that I wrote the book was a surprise. And it's because I didn't want her to say anything negative to me that would kind of ruin my motivation. You have to be careful who you talk to. Oh, very cool, SoFlo. Currently listening while working the beer league at the Panthers practice rink. Nice. Hey, Simon, how you doing, bud? So, Simon, I don't know if you saw it, that you asked me if I like to go for walks. I don't know if you heard the story that I just told her, that was before or after. But yeah, I busted my knees. I never had any pain in my knees, and I walked him into submission this year because she left the end of July, and so August, September, October, November, half of December, and then I went on vacation to Florida. And I came back, and then January and into February, I was out there just about every night. If there wasn't a hockey game, I was definitely out there for sure. And now I've slowed down a little bit with it, but mainly because my knees just started to give me pain. Tarkos says, touchy subject, engaging with online corn versus regular sex with a partner. A lot of criticism on corn. While I agree, it interferes with life, but if you've been single several years, why not occasionally? So, like I said at the beginning, I'm not here to preach morality to anybody. I ain't got no room to talk. No, okay. I mean, I have a series called Confessions of a Male Massage Therapist. Y'all can read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? So, the way I view anything, whatever it is, anything at all, is what's its effect on your life. If you can be honest about its effect on your life and it's not a negative, then it's not a negative, right? Can it be a net positive? I'll tell you a whole different story, Guitar Crow. So, I buy and sell off of eBay, part of my living. And as money got tighter after COVID and everything, money got tighter because I lost the Amazon business, started noticing that when I would go to eBay to buy something, I get nervous. I don't want to press the buy it now button. Do I really want to spend this $50? And so I have my herbs, shall we say, that get me nice and relaxed. And now when I know I want to shop on eBay for resale, I make sure I'm a little bit inebriated to do it. Because if I'm not, I won't buy anything. Because the anxiety of spending the money will be too much. But I get myself loosened up and I go and I buy stuff and I do great with it. It's helping me. It's not hurting me. It's not like I'm going on there and spending a bunch of money and losing money. It's just giving me just enough it's lowering the anxiety just enough for me to be like, all right, I can do this. I can have and buy it now. And now some people might look at that and be like, what? You can only do that when you got stoned or whatever. But I mean, I look at it objectively. It's not having a negative effect on my life. I don't do it any other time. And it's you get to a certain age and you realize whatever you need to do in this world to function, to move yourself forward. I don't begrudge anybody anything. So, Flo, do I think it's weird to flat out ask a girl why things didn't work out for improvement purposes? There's this one girl that I went on a couple of dates with and thought we had a good time. So here's the thing, man. On one hand, I completely 1000% understand your desire to do that. On the other hand, the odds of her being honest with you and giving you usable information is really, really small. Really small. I don't recommend it. Not because I think there's anything wrong with it, because Lord knows we've all been in that position to be like, wait, what did I do? What? Right? I totally grasp that. But generally speaking, I wouldn't trust the information that you would get back. Because women think all sorts of wild and crazy things. And a lot of the times, especially if it's involving a breakup or dates that gone wrong or whatever, some of those wild and crazy things aren't exactly rooted in fantastic reality. In 2010, I was separated from my now ex-wife for almost a year, and we both saw other people. And I went on a date with a woman and went on a second date with her. It got physical. And then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm not really into this. I'm not. And she got mad. She's like, whoa. Why not? And I'm like, well, I'm just not really. So long story short, she eventually just accused me. She said, well, you must be gay then. You must be gay if you don't want to be with me. Because my friends say there's no reason why. She literally said this thing. She said, my friends say there's no reason why you shouldn't be interested in me. You must be gay. I said, well, unfortunately, now I'm going to have to tell you the truth, because I was trying to be nice to her. I was trying to be nice. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I said, but you can thank your friends for this. I said, I don't want to be with you because I just don't find you that attractive. I never heard from her again. So I understand the desire to ask a woman that question, but I wouldn't trust any of the information that you would get. And in fact, they may say things that will purposefully attempt to derail you. Hey, Kazuma. Said, what makes a good massage therapist? I visited two, one Asian and one legit for double the price, and I felt like I got scammed on the legit one, barely, no pressure. The best massage therapist is going to be someone who listens to you. Now, unfortunately for us guys, most of the massage therapists are women, and getting a massage from another guy, usually it's not like if you've got an injury and you need deep work, like screw it, I don't care. I'll take it from a guy. But if you're just going to get a relaxation massage, it's tough getting it from another guy. I've tried it because if you want a massage therapist that's going to listen to you, a guy is going to listen to you. If you walk into a guy's office and tell him my back hurts, my leg hurt, this, they're going to work on the areas that you ask for. A woman is just going to kind of do her own thing and hope that she gets the spots right. Generally speaking, that's been my experience. The best way to find a massage therapist is a very expensive method, which is going to a different one until you find the right one and then stick with her. It's hard to find one that listens to your needs for sure. Um, in terms of going to the funny business ones, the happy ending ones, I've been there, done that. Wasn't my cup of tea because I want the massage. You know what I mean? Like I've never been somebody who really had a problem getting sex. I want the damn massage. I'm working out. I'm playing sports. My body hurts. Last thing I need to do is be exhausted by a damn happy ending at the end of my massage. So I'm not sure what the going rate now is a days. When I was going before COVID, I was going once a week for a 2 hour, and it was costing me $240 with the tip. But that was before I had a pretty good Amazon business then. Simon, do I like smoothies? Oh, Slurpee. No, definitely nothing like that. I have my protein powder. If any of you guys, by the way, this is not like a sponsorship or anything like that. What the hell is the name of the stuff that I take? Transparent Labs. If any of you guys are ever looking for like protein powders and stuff like that, I mean, I've been doing this shit since in the 80s. I've tried them all. The Transparent Lab stuff is by far the best. It tastes good. There's no upset stomach. It mixes up pretty damn easily. If you guys are looking for that stuff, I highly recommend the Transparent Lab stuff. It's not cheap, but it's worth it. Yeah, David's giving good advice there. Yeah, that's tough, SoFlo. That is tough. But when you ask her, she's busy. That's tough. I mean, she's telling you without telling you. You know what I mean? Kazuma says, friends treated me to my first escort for your 40th birthday today. And what an experience. Got all the fun without the hassle. Yeah. Yeah. I've been on that side of the aisle once, Kazuma. I've been on that side of the aisle once. I was on the other side of the aisle for about 5 years. Confessions of a Male Massage Therapist. Y'all can read between the lines there. But it's an experience. It was weird. It was I remember it, but it wasn't it wasn't worth the money. it wasn't worth the money. You know what I mean? Like it was, and then it wasn't, and the money was gone. It was like it was an experience, is what it was. Simon, so where would I take a lady when we meet? So the first date Donna and I had was at my house. And that's a true story. Donna and I both just kind of had the same exact attitude when we met. It's like, here it is. Here it is. I got my t-shirt and my pajamas, and she's in her jeans. And it's like, you want it or not? You know what I mean? Like we were both at the point where we were just like not wanting to play. I mean, forget about playing games. We just wanted to skip the bullshit part. Neither one of us has money to be going out and spending it on, you take somebody to dinner, it's $100 at least. I couldn't dream a day. So she said, well, what do you want to do for the first? What do you want to do? I said, come over, I'll cook you dinner, and then spend the night. And she said, yes. We didn't have sex. That wasn't in the plan. You know what I mean? We knew we weren't going to have sex, but it was just like, I was like, you know what? Just come over. Let's just be real. She brought Leia. She brought the dog. right? Kyle met her, and it's been fantastic ever since. We skipped the whole pretentious bullshit part where, you know, we go to dinner and then we go on this little excursion and we do this and we do that, because that's not real life anyway, man. You know what I mean? People spend so much money and so much effort and so much time in the beginning on the dates, and then 6 months in, you guys are just sitting at home, Netflix and chill anyway, because that's really what people like to do a lot, because they work all damn day, all week. And then eventually, well, we used to do this, we used to do that, so we just skip the part where we just skip that part. And we sit on the couch and we talk for hours, and actually got to talk to each other and learn about each other and hear about each other's experiences, rather than just sitting there pretending to have half-assed conversations while I was having to drop $150 on dinner. You know, we both got past that point. Yeah, David's like, it's a numbers thing. You got to filter through the wrong ones to hopefully find the right one. Like I said, for those of you who might have missed it at the beginning, there might have been a few of you that weren't here. Find someone who won't let you compromise on your dreams, even if it would benefit them. If there's something that you want to accomplish and something that you want to do, and by quitting or by compromising on it and doing less, it would benefit them, and they still say, no, I don't want you to compromise, I don't want you to quit, I want you to go for it, then you know you got somebody who's got your back for real. David said, no, correct answer is yes, I'm getting nice shoes. Kazuma, yeah, yep. I can understand that about the 150 and the 250. I've been to straight, legit Asian massage places before. This was decades ago, though, right? God, almost decades ago. I'm getting old, people. And they were pretty good. It just depends on the location. You know what I mean? You kind of know what to expect. But 150 is a good price. Oh, Kazuma's birthday? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. The happy birthday, Kazuma. So Soflo, so let me ask you this, Soflo. And I see your next question there, Guitar Crow. So Soflo, my question would be, what do you think it is? Like, because that's really what's more important, right? Because if you, and I'm not being critical, but if you try to improve yourself based on what each individual woman would say, if I tried to improve myself based on what Karen said, I would not be here, because she encouraged me more than once to quit YouTube. I was never going to be any kind of success. So where it really matters is what you think. Where do you feel your weaknesses are? Where do you feel your strengths are? Because you know yourself better than her. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, is that I don't know any woman from my past that I would trust with constructive criticism that I would take to actually be accurate. Guitar Girl wants to know, if I had to pick the top 5 most important things for settling in a partner. Man, number one is impulse control. Number one is impulse control. Because that, more than anything, when you're dealing with a woman, their emotions are going to always change all over the place. You're not getting past that part. It's like trying to find a man that don't want sex. Women's emotions are going to swing all over the place. You have to find someone that is aware of that, and at least acknowledge it. Because if they're not aware of it and they won't acknowledge it, they're going to blame you. So impulse control would far and away be the most important thing. The second most important thing, and women will deny this until the cows come home, but it's the truth, is that you guys need to be into the same thing, or at least in the same ballpark sexually. Because if you're not, Confessions of a Male Massage Therapist. I would say the third most important thing past that is if you're looking at possibly having a family, the way that you would handle your kids and pets. Pets, that's a good test too. If you've been with somebody a little bit, you move in, maybe think you want to have kids, get a cat, get a dog, talk about it first. But a good way to know if you're going to be a match parenting wise is to get a pet. Because if there's friction there, it's not good. It's not good. I think the fourth one would be get a picture of her mother. Get a picture of her mother, and then make sure that in 20 years when she looks like that you're going to be okay with that. I know it sounds superficial, right? But if you're talking long term, and I guess the last thing would kind of go for either one of you. And I know that they say accountability in women is their kryptonite, right? They say for women, accountability is their kryptonite. Finding a woman that's actually going to take accountability for their actions is not easy. And generally speaking, when you do find a woman who has accountability for their actions, it's only come at the expense of a trail of men that she is blamed for the relationship's problems until she finally extrapolated from it. Well, there's been 6 other dudes and me. Maybe I'm the common denominator. And by then, that can be a difficult situation to handle. So finding a woman who at least is going to give you some kind of partial accountability for her actions. Now, it may not come from you. Their friend group is very important, especially for you younger guys. The woman's friend group is extremely important, because does she have a group of friends that is just going to be like, you slay queen, go ahead, girl, do what you want, and is going to cover for her? Or does she have a bunch of girlfriends that are going to hold her accountable and be like, hey man, he's a good dude. Why are you treating him that way? Friend group is of massive importance now, way more than it was when I was your guys' age. Way more. I mean, when I grew up and walked 10 miles to school in the snow each way, I mean, no internet. Like you dudes, and it's the same thing for us now, but I'm obviously older. Like every guy in the world has access to your women now. right? So like in my age group, it's a little bit different. My age group, David's age group, like every high school prom date, sweetheart, every dude that she ever knew can just look her up on Facebook and slide into the DMs and be like, hey, sexy, what's up? And if you have not been nailing the doors shut, completely shut, where's the line? Where's that line? You know what I mean? If she can't show you the DMs, it's likely over the line. But for you younger guys, like just the whole world has access to your woman. When I was your age, if somebody wanted access to my girlfriend, they either needed to get her phone number, which just didn't grow on trees, or like we had to write notes. Like you wrote somebody a note and passed it to her in class. There wasn't none of this shit where it's like, hey, Jimmy thinks I'm hot. It's obscene what you guys have to deal with, taken from the point of view where, because for a woman, the biggest currency they have many times when they're younger is attention. So what you guys are up against, and this goes to what I'm talking about, SoFlo, in the sense of you wanting to ask her what went wrong. And while I understand, boy, do I get it, the desire to kind of want to know the answer to that question. You're not going to get any usable information because each woman is going to have her own different emotions, and those emotions are going to change 475 days a year because you got only a 50-50 chance she's going to be the same woman that she goes to bed when she woke up. And so whatever reasons she might give you could just be the fleetingest feeling that she had in that moment. It's far more important to just recognize, to have the self-reflection and recognize in yourself that, hey, you know, maybe this is something I could work on. And you know, I mean, you have to learn to use your strengths. You have to learn to use, and that goes for everybody, right? And sometimes there's just things you can't work on. I wasn't getting any taller. You know what I mean? Like sometimes there's just things that you just can't work on. That's just how it is. That's how you are. And you just have to find somebody who wants that. David, does she cook? Does she like sports? Does she fish? Is she cool to dogs? No skinny chicks. So I'll agree with David's number 2, 4, and 5. I agree with 2, 4, and 5. I'll do the cooking. I don't mind that. And I like to fish alone. Like the first week I met Karen, the ex, and I told her I was going out in the kayak. She's like, oh, I wouldn't mind going out in the kayak, going fishing. And I just looked at her like, that one I don't get. The guys that want their woman to go fishing with them. No, man, that's my Zen time. I might need to do a Patreon for the uncensored talks. Yeah, that's true. So what did I make, son? What did I cook for her? It was just some kind of chicken dish. No, it wasn't. It was steak. I think I made steak and pasta or something that first night. I think so. Sure thing, Kazuma. All right, David. Appreciate that, bud. Yep, you missed 100%. Is it 9 o'clock already? Good God. How did that go so fast? That was fast. Kazuma, yeah, I forgot to mention that. Says I think something that affects these relationship these days is political differences, especially these days. Yeah, when I was on Match, that's how I met Donna. Um, and I live in Maryland. Now this side of the bridge is very conservative. The other side of the bridge is extremely liberal. It's why Maryland's always blue, because the Baltimore D.C. area. And a third of the profiles were no Trump supporters. A third of the profiles were, if you voted for Trump, just don't even bother messaging me. Wild. '58 problem with the friend group and accountability is if she isn't honest with them or misleading, then what advice she is trying to get is she will most likely mold the story to get. Yeah. But you can tell 58. I'll tell this last story before I go. This was way back. This was when I met my ex-wife. So I was 22. And I met her at Club Baja in Fort Lauderdale, Baja Beach Club, I think Oakland Park Boulevard in US 1. So I met her at the club, right? And at that point, I was very, very, I was the hyper jealous part, very tight, very conservative, very, very possessive. 22, I was a Leo. What do you want, right? And so she had a couple friends that she would go out dancing with, and this one girl's name was Marissa. And I could tell right off the bat. And I would tell her, like, you ain't going out with Marissa. You ain't going out. I said, she's a hoe, she's a slut. You ain't going out with her. And my ex defended her. So a few weeks later, my ex and I were going on a trip to Disney. And Marissa was going to watch my ex. She had ferrets. She was going to watch her ferrets. And so I showed up at my ex's apartment, and Marissa was there, and my ex was still at work. It was like a half hour where she was going, my ex wasn't going to be there, and it was just me and Marissa. And let's just put it this way. You guys ever seen the movie Basic Instinct? Let's just say Marissa came on to me, and I didn't budge because I was 22 and I was in love, you know what I mean? I didn't budge, but she was persistent. And then, when my ex came home from work, acted like nothing had ever happened. And my ex she had no questions whatsoever that Marissa was completely safe to leave alone with me. And she defended her, tooth and nail. And so their friend group is just so important. It really is. And that they're going to, they're going to stick up for each other and whatnot. But if you get that gut feeling, if you've got that gut feeling about something certain, you guys that were with me these last couple of years, you know what happened. You know what happened when my ex left the house. And I've alluded to it before, but it's like I had my suspicions. And then after she left, I found a bunch of stuff that confirmed my suspicions, which is fine because I'm in a much better position now. The position I'm in now, I'm grateful every day that she left. So it's fine. But the point being, man, the important thing to do here, guys, though I will say this, is to learn the difference between your gut suspicions and anxiety. It can be a fine line. It absolutely can be a fine line. You don't want to ruin relationships over anxiety. And never Never, never, all five, never, all 10 nevers, use your toes, 20 nevers. Never accuse without proof. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I don't care if the ghost of your grandpa came to you at night and said, buddy, she's cheating. Never accuse without proof. Never. And I mean proof. I mean hardcore, printed out, screenshotted proof. Just don't do it to yourself. Because if you don't have 100% proof, you're only going to be 99.9% sure. And she will take that 0.1% and gaslight you like ain't nobody's business and make you doubt your own sanity until one day she leaves and then you find the proof. Until one day she leaves and you open up the dresser and be like, son bitch, I just got gaslit for 2 years. But life is good. All right. That is going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody hanging out. As time goes on, we'll get these going a little bit longer, a little bit more frequent. I'm hoping by the next one, by the next stream, whether it's here or on the Hockey Channel, I want to use this. The picture was so beautiful. The picture was practically 4K, but it wouldn't let me use this mic. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run a test in here. How does it sound with that audio? Would that audio be okay? And I can't figure out why it wouldn't let me use the camera and this mic because I use that camera with this mic. So I'll have to figure it out. 58. Yeah, the gaslight manipulation is terrible, man. It'll get you. It'll get you. All right, everybody. Appreciate all the support. I will be live tomorrow on the Hockey Channel and at noon. Yeah, at noon. All right, everybody. Go enjoy the rest of your night. We'll chat again soon.